Nose candy fragrance video, imaginary authors, Bag of Joy.
Sorry about that, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Today's video is going to be part 2 of a mini-series that I'm doing, looking at the house of imaginary authors. Basically what I'm doing is, in each video, I'm picking 2 samples. I was sent 10 samples from imaginary authors, very generous, in this little bag of joy, as I like to call it. And in each video, I'm just going to pick out 2 samples at random, just give them my quick first impressions, a quick score out of 10. Maybe in a later video, maybe I'll review them properly, but at the minute, it's just first impressions. I'll leave a link down below to the fragrances, to the 2 that I've already sampled, which were Memoirs of a Trespasser and Cape Heartache. So definitely check on that video if you want to see my ratings and first impressions on those. Going to reach straight into the bag of joy. I've already taken Memoirs of a Trespasser and Cape Heartache out of the bag. As you can see as well, I have filled it. It's not just 2 fragrances that I'm going to keep it random. The first fragrance, guys, is Every Storm a Serenade. This is probably my favorite title. Arguably one of my favorite titles of any fragrance, but definitely from the house Imaginary Authors. And the second fragrance from the Bag of Joy. Violet Disguise. Violet Disguise. I'm going to guess, I think they're all sold as unisex, but I'm going to guess Violet Disguise, maybe because of the colour, maybe because of the name of it, is going to be more feminine perhaps? I don't know, we'll soon see. I'm going to look at Violet Disguise first, purely because I think I'm more intrigued by Every Storm a Serenade, so I'm going to leave that one second. But Violet Disguise, I mentioned it in the first video, that each fragrance comes with a real nifty little bookmark, which has a list of the notes, and then also a quote as well from the imaginary author that they've created. So for Violet Disguise, the quote is, "Invigorated by the reckless blooms of spring, she took to the street like a blossom on the breeze." That's very pretty. That's very pretty sounding. And the fragrance notes in this are plum, violet, dried fruits, balsam, amber, evening air, and the month of May. I should probably mention at this point, in case you haven't seen the first part of the video, that imaginary authors, as well as creating these imaginary authors and whatnot, they also have in each fragrance an imaginary note. And I guess in this one there's actually 2, which would be evening air and the month of May. You know, sometimes I have sprayed a fragrance that, oh, this does smell like June. It's got a very June aroma going on to it. My first impressions on Violet Disguise by imaginary authors. It's a good mist. It's a very good mist. I do like this. I do like this, and I do think it is perhaps more feminine, but it is very fruity. It's a very fruit-filled fragrance so far. So yeah, guys, I would say that I'm picking up the dried fruits, and I would also say that I'm picking up the violet, which it does sound strange to me because I'm not too good at picking up notes, and I can only pick up, very distinctive things. So violet is a bit of an odd one for me. But I guess the reason I can smell violet is it kind of reminds me, in the UK we have these sweets, I don't know if you get them in America, called Parma violets. They're little circle sweets that some people either love or hate. I personally quite like them, but it reminds me of that a little bit. So I would say that I'm picking up the dried fruits, picking up the violet, plum, I'm just picking up fruits in general, not necessarily plum. Oh wait, there's another note There's another note that's coming up quite strong now. It reminds me a little bit about like it smells like January. No. It's not February or March. It could be wait there. No, it's definitely the month of May. All jokes aside, guys, it is a nice uplifting fragrance that I could imagine wearing in May or June. I think I would prefer to smell it on my girlfriend. So for that reason, I would probably have to give this one, Violet Disguise, a 6 out of 10. Onto Every Storm a Serenade. Now this one I've read quite a bit about and I am very much looking forward to sampling it. So the little story, the little passage that it has is I patter on the typewriter all day, but the letters on the page are like raindrops on a window. I fear I may be losing my mind. It's the story of my life, that is. The fragrance notes are Danish spruce, eucalyptus, vetiver, kalone, ambergris, leave in the comments what I should be pronouncing that as, and Baltic sea mist. So the sea mist, I guess, is the imaginary note in this one. My first impressions on Every Storm a Serenade by imaginary authors. Really good sprayers. I mentioned it a lot in the first video, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, but really good. This is right up my alley. This is the kind of scents that I do like to differ with my scents. I think I have quite polar, quite contrasting scents in my collection. Not that it's a huge collection, but if I had to pick a certain type of fragrance, this is more me. Now with this one, I can't, like Danish spruce, I'm going to be really ignorant here and say I don't even know if we get that in the UK. I can't associate it with a particular tree such as a Danish spruce. But it has got that woodland kind of feel to it almost. I am picking up, like, I can imagine big trees walking through a big wooded area. The eucalyptus is there, and definitely as well the vetiver. I'm picking up a bit of vetiver. And I think the reason that I'm picking up vetiver quite strongly is this reminded me of a fragrance by a French company called Duetto Parfums. And they have a fragrance called Citiver, which is a very nice vetiver fragrance. I wasn't too confident in knowing what vetiver was before smelling that, but now that I have smelled that, I'm picking it up in this quite a bit. The other strange thing I would say is whether it's the kalone, the ambergris, gris, or the Baltic sea mist, it does remind me, because I live quite close to, I'm in a seaside town, West Wales, and it is reminding me of standing by the pier late at night, especially when the waves are crashing in. Kind of has that salty air vibe to it, but not too salty. But I do like this one a lot, guys. I do prefer it to Violet Disguise. It's a very nice aquatic, not too aquatic, not too salty. Just a very, very nice fragrance. I would say this again leans more towards perhaps the masculine side of things, but I could imagine both sexes wearing it. If I give Violet Disguise a 6, I guess I would have to give this one an 8 out of 10. I do like this. This is something I'd be happy to wear. So that's been my quick first take on Every Storm a Serenade and Violet Disguise by the company Imaginary Authors. If you haven't yet checked them out, please do so. I'll leave a link in the description. But hopefully now, before the end of the week, I'll have part 3 with another 2 new fragrances. Cheers, guys.